It was a quiet summer morning on June 20, 2001 in Clear Lake, Texas, when local police answered a frantic 911 call. What they found stunned them. 36-year-old Andrea Yates, drenched and disoriented, calmly confessed, "I just killed my children." Inside the three-bedroom brick house lay an unspeakable scene, the bodies of her 5 young children. Please help this channel grow. Like the video, try the new hype feature, leave a comment and subscribe for more stories. This helps us a lot. Thank you. Sons Luke, age 2, Paul 3, John 5, and daughter Mary 6 months, were found motionless in or near the tub, and Noah 7, the eldest, had been drowned after witnessing his baby sister's death. According to some magazine, Yates answered the door with wet hair and clothing and calmly told officers, "I killed my kids." How could a devoted wife and mother commit such a horror? This question would haunt investigators and the nation for years to come. Andrea Pia Kennedy was born in Houston in 1964. By all accounts, she was intelligent and high-achieving. She graduated valedictorian of her high school class and earned a nursing degree in 1986. After working as a registered nurse at the MD Anderson Cancer Center, Andrea met Russell "Rusty" Yates, a NASA engineer, in 1989. They married in April 1993, and Andrea left her nursing career to devote herself to family life. The devout evangelical couple shared a mutual vow: they would have as many babies as nature allowed. In less than a decade they welcomed 5 children: Noah, John, Paul, Luke, and Mary, along with great hopes for a large, joyful household. But underneath the picture of domestic bliss, Andrea's mental health was fraying. After the birth of her 4th child, Luke, in 1999, she slipped into a deep depression. Just days after Luke's arrival, Andrea overdosed on pills in a suicide attempt and was hospitalized. Within weeks, Rusty found her catatonic in the bathroom mirror, a kitchen knife held to her throat. Doctors diagnosed her with postpartum depression and prescribed medication. With treatment she briefly stabilized and the family moved to a smaller home for her sake. But by mid-1999 Andrea had another breakdown. 2 more suicide attempts and 2 hospital stays ensued that summer. A psychiatrist warned Rusty not to have any more children, predicting future psychotic depression. They nevertheless conceived again, and Andrea gave birth to Mary in November 2000. She had recently gone off her powerful antipsychotic Haldol 2 weeks before the murders, and her mood swings grew worse. In early 2001, tragedy struck again. The death of Andrea's own father on March 12 sent her into a psychotic spiral. She stopped all medications, mutilated herself, and became obsessively religious, praying feverishly and even neglecting to care for baby Mary. On May 3, she filled the bathtub with water and later confessed that she had planned to drown the children then, but changed her mind at the last moment. Her psychiatrist, Dr. Mohammed Saeed, noted she was near catatonic and hospitalized her. Despite orders that Andrea be watched around the clock, by mid-June Rusty began leaving her alone with the children for short periods, believing she needed independence. Within an hour of Rusty's departure, the unthinkable unfolded. Andrea Yates quietly filled the bathtub in the bathroom of their 3-bedroom home. One by one she began with the youngest 3 children. She placed toddler Luke 2, Paul 3, and John 5, in the tub, holding each underwater until their small bodies went limp. Magazine describes what followed. She filled the bathtub and drowned her children one by one, taking the lives of sons Luke 2, Paul 3, John 5, and daughter Mary, who was just 6 months old. Little Mary was left floating lifeless in the water. 7-year-old Noah came into the bathroom and saw his sister dead. Terrified, he ran, but Andrea chased him down and wrestled him back. In the tub he too met the same fate. Noah's final moments were spent begging his mother for mercy. Andrea calmly ended his life too, according to witnesses. When it was over, Andrea Yates had killed all 5 of her children. She then performed a grim ritual. She carefully laid the 4 youngest bodies, Paul, Luke, John, Mary, on her bed and covered them with a sheet. Evidence suggests she bathed Noah and left his body afloat, but placed Mary in John's arms for a final tableau. In an eerie final act, Andrea picked up the phone. She dialed 911 and told the dispatcher only that she needed an officer but refused to explain why. She also called Rusty at work, her voice calm. "You need to come home right away." Then she waited for the police. Minutes later, officers arrived. Outside stood a tearful Rusty, watching horror unfold in his kitchen. Inside the silent house, investigators found the grim scene exactly as Andrea had described. 1 child still in the bathtub, the rest laid neatly under a sheet in the bedroom. There was no sign of struggle or forced entry, clearly no outsider had intruded. Everything pointed to one overwhelming truth. Andrea Yates had acted alone in this crime. Detectives immediately took Yates into custody. From the start, her confession was clear. She had deliberately drowned her children. In interviews, she revealed chilling details of her state of mind. Her lawyer later testified that Andrea believed the killings were necessary to save her children from eternal damnation, that drowning them was the right thing to do. Prior to the murders, she had locked up the family dog, perhaps to prevent interference, and she admitted she waited until her husband left for work so he could not stop her. Neighbors and family who knew Yates were shocked. Cheryl Johnson, who lived nearby, told reporters, "Something had to have snapped. She was no monster." Indeed, in the days following the killings, Rusty Yates and others explained that Andrea had been struggling for years with postpartum depression and psychosis. A psychiatric evaluation would later show that Andrea had been diagnosed with severe mental illness, both postpartum psychosis and schizophrenia, long before that fatal morning. By the time of trial, court records were filled with her hospital files. Suicide attempts, delusional journals, letters, and Dr. Saeed's urgent notes warning she be watched constantly. The picture was stark. A once stable nurse and mother reduced by illness to a fragile, tormented shell. With no doubt as to who was responsible, prosecutors filed 5 counts of capital murder. The investigation itself had been swift. Crime scene analysts documented exactly how and when each child died, and psychiatrists rushed to interpret Yates's state of mind. Toxicology on June 20 found only the prescription drugs she had been taking. Nothing sinister beyond her mental health history. Every lead confirmed the same thing. This was a murder carried out by a mother in the grip of a psychotic break. In 2002, Andrea Yates went on trial for capital murder. Prosecutors argued she knew right from wrong and sought the death penalty. The defense argued insanity. If she truly believed she was saving her children, she could not be held fully culpable. After days of testimony, the jury convicted Yates of murder but spared her life. They handed down life in prison with the possibility of parole after 40 years. However, the saga was far from over. During appeals, it emerged that the prosecution's star psychiatrist, Dr. Park Dietz, had given false testimony to sway the jury, claiming a non-existent episode of Law and Order had inspired Yates. In 2005, an appellate court overturned the conviction on those grounds. A new trial was ordered. By the time of the retrial in 2006, the narrative had shifted. Both sides agreed Yates was severely mentally ill, but the legal question was whether she knew her actions were wrong. On July 26, 2006, a Texas jury answered by finding Andrea Yates not guilty by reason of insanity. Instead of a prison term, she was committed to a psychiatric hospital. First, she was sent to the high-security North Texas State Hospital in Vernon, and later transferred to Kerrville State Hospital in Texas. She remains there to this day. Yates's lawyers noted she has repeatedly declined even to seek early release, saying only that she grieves for her children every day, often watching videos of them. Rusty Yates, forever changed by the events, divorced Andrea and has since remarried. When asked in 2015 if he forgave his first wife, he replied poignantly, "Forgiveness kind of implies that I have ever really blamed her. In some sense, I've never really blamed her because I've always blamed her illness. The surviving family, grandparents and friends are left to bear the aftermath." Several of Andrea and Rusty's friends set up a memorial fund for the 5 children, and Rusty has said he supports efforts to remember their short lives. The Andrea Yates case is a harrowing chapter in true crime and mental health history. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths, that loving people can harbor deep, hidden pain, that marriage and motherhood, often considered the joys of life, can also come with crushing expectations and isolation. In a sense, Andrea's home on an ordinary June morning became a house of horrors. A mother's call for help rang out too late, as the pressures of her faith, her family, and an untreated psychosis collided catastrophically. For viewers, Andrea's story is both tragedy and warning. It reminds us how critical mental health support is, especially for new mothers facing postpartum disorders. It also challenges us to look beyond the horror at the humanity, a broken woman who once was proud and capable, now locked forever in regret. As one neighbor put it, Andrea Yates was no monster, but a person driven beyond her limits. The legacy of those 5 children, Noah, John, Paul, Luke, and Mary, lives on only in memory and our vigilance to prevent such tragedies in future. If Andrea's story moved or disturbed you, please like and subscribe for more in-depth crime chronicles. Share this video to raise awareness about postpartum mental health and family support. Remember, no one should struggle alone under the weight of marriage or motherhood. Thank you for watching.